Sites like Napster. Fans had always paid for music. Now they could get it for free.
If you're selling water in the desert and it starts to rain, you might consider a different business.
Ken Hertz is a lawyer who represents music stars such as will.i.am of the Black Eyed Peas, Beyonce, and Gwen Stefani.
Is the CD dead?
Kids want the digits. The music is digits. It no longer is necessary for you to take the digits, put them on a disc, and sell them in physical form in order to get them out there.
The music industry no longer controls the distribution of its own product, which is why there was no shortage of skepticism when Bronfman and a group of investors bought Warner for $2.6 billion in 2003 and brought the company public 2 years later.
People said, this industry is going to go through is going through a firestorm. Why would anyone want to buy into the music business? I'm sure you didn't say that.
Well, I may have.
But and we've done pretty darn well so far.
Facing dwindling profits, Bronfman has aggressively redesigned Warner. He's fired over 1,000 people and embraced a variety of new ways to deliver music. This is the sound of the new Warner.
T.I. and T.I.P., they're taking over BET.
Executives at Atlantic Records, a Warner label, plan the upcoming release from hip-hop artist T.I. They're promoting the release on Myspace.
He is currently the #1 hip-hop artist on Myspace.
And YouTube.
Big Things Poppin' will be on there this week.
They've created special ringtones.
He customized a voice tone for the troops.
It's a broad offering of new products and partnerships, which have sent digital sales from 0 to 14% of the company's revenue in 4 years flat.
It's going to be a smash. It'll be awesome.
We're no longer just about putting out 10 or 12 songs by an artist every couple of years. We're going to be putting out video and ringtones and ringback tones, then connecting them to blogs, to ticketing opportunities when the artist goes on tour, merchandising, you name it.
That new revenue can't come quickly enough. Last year, more than half the music acquired in the U.S. was not paid for.
The majority of my music, I guarantee 99%, is pretty much illegally downloaded.
Kids like Evan, a 20-year-old college student in New York, were once the recording industry's best customers. Not anymore.
I don't pay for music, very rarely.
A playlist of all my songs, it would go on for months straight without even stopping. That's how many songs I have.
For Evan, and a lot of kids of his generation, if it's free, it's not stealing.
A lot of my friends do the same thing. We just don't buy music. We'll share it with each other. Check out this band, download it. If we like it, we'll go to a concert. That's how we pay the artists.
There are kids growing up now who don't even think twice about it. To them, music simply is like water coming out of the tap.
Right.
It's free and it's just there.
We recognize that we can't sort of just cry wolf and tell everybody stop, and they will.
So your customers?
Well, if people steal from me, I don't consider them my customers. Having said that, free is a tough consumer proposition with which to compete. I think if we can give people something that's better than free, deeper than free, more robust than free, people actually want it.
But even if the recording industry figures out a way to compete with free music, it has another problem. In the same way they've lost control of the distribution of music, the major labels are also losing control of the artists themselves. Not long ago, musicians had to have a recording deal with a major music company. If you didn't have a deal, you weren't going to be on the shelves at Tower Records. Today, this Tower Records, along with the 89 others in the famous chain, is gone. Now, artists can distribute music directly to fans without a corporate middleman. The popular rock band Bare Naked Ladies left Warner Music in 2003 to go it alone. Stephen Page is the band's frontman. Kevin Hearn plays keyboards.
Terry McBride, our manager, took us out for dinner one night and said, let's not resign. We thought he was nuts, because I couldn't imagine being outside of the world of the major label.
It all makes a lot more sense now. Bare Naked Ladies sells fewer CDs than they might have with Warner, but they make a lot more on each of them.
We used to make like $2 a record with Warner's, and now we make probably $6.
What's more, the band, not Warner, owns its new recordings. But there are challenges. These days, fans expect much more contact with the artists they love. And Bare Naked Ladies has perfected the art of intimacy. They update their weblogs daily, include fans in their videos, and even took a 3-day Caribbean cruise with several hundred of their so-called friends.
People on the cruise ship! People on the cruise ship! I mean, what other people are there, right?
We were dreading it. I thought it was going to be horrendous. But it ended up being...
Trapped on a boat.
Trapped on a boat with your most rabid fans. It sounds great.
Hello, ships and dippers.
But it was really great. It was like a floating music festival.
It's not the way it was in the 60s and 70s.
Well, the mystery's gone. We can't get that back. I mean, if you bought a Beatles record or something like that, I'd sit and I'd stare at the album cover and pull out the poster and stare at all the pictures, and that was my contact with them. But if the Beatles were out now, you'd expect blog updates from Ringo twice a week.
Well, how important is it for you to keep up this level of communication in order to sell your music?
Well, we went to England a couple months ago, and it was the biggest audiences we've had since we had a top 5 hit there, which was 7 years ago.
Without the record company and without publicity.
And no radio play this time.
So what's that from?
That's from the internet. That is from the fans feeling they have a connection with us, and with connection with each other as well.
And there's no greater connection than seeing it live. Sales from North American concert tours shot up last year to a record $3.6 billion. But the record companies will hardly see a cent of it. For years, the deal was simple. The label invested in an artist and reaped the benefit of record sales, while the artist made his or her money from concert tickets, merchandise, and sponsorships. But with falling record sales, labels can't get a return on that investment. So companies like Warner are trying to get a cut of all the artists' income.
If we're going to be investing in artists going forward, we need to become more partners with them in their career.
Do you think the artists are willing to view you as a partner? It isn't always the greatest of relationships.
If we're going to talk about partnership, there has to be trust at the baseline. And it's very fashionable to say there's no trust between artists and record companies. And I think, by the way, in the past, there's been poor behavior by record companies and probably some poor behavior by artists. If we don't partner, the artist and the record company, I think each of us are missing a tremendous opportunity.
Lawyer Ken Hurt says the record companies are finally changing their tune.
They are changing their attitude. There's no question about that. Which is, you know what? We've got to reinvent ourselves to a place where artists trust us, artists rely on us, artists want us, because they can't just need us anymore. And I think that record companies will evolve into financial partners and creative partners.
You represent Beyonce, very important artist. Why in this world doesn't Beyonce say, hell with it, I'm just going to go directly to the consumer. I don't even need a record company any longer.
Well, Beyonce is managed by Music World. Beyonce! And Music World thinks about these issues all the time.
So this could happen?
Oh, it'll happen as soon as it's contractually opportune. It certainly will happen.
Can artists go it alone now? Can they say, you know what, I don't necessarily need a record company to be giving up a good slice of whatever revenues I get. I may not become a multimillionaire. I can make a living at it.
Frankly, from a marketing standpoint, from a promotion standpoint, from getting your material out to every mobile phone company, being on the deck of that mobile phone company, being on the homepage of iTunes, that are, for an individual artist to be able to do that, very, very difficult to do.
With CD sales sinking fast, time is running out. The industry's fortunes hang on the hope that fans will want their music and pay for it on a new wave of mobile devices. Bronfman is confident his business will be brought back from the brink by the promise of music made available instantly, wirelessly, and above all, globally.
I have a huge distribution opportunity in front of me. I currently don't have $1 of revenue from China, from India, from Russia, where almost half the world's population resides. There is tremendous opportunity for us.
You're a public company. To the extent that people buy your stock, they expect to see growth. Your main product, still your main product, is in a seminal decline.
Well, I run a public company, and the market rewards growth, so that's what we're going to have to show up with. I'm not saying it's going to be easy or it's going to be immediate, but it will come. The question is, I think, legitimately, will it be soon enough for anyone to care? But we will get there, for sure.
If Warner is hanging its future on the convergence of cell phones and music players, its moment may have arrived. The release of the iPhone and other devices like it could play into Bronfman's strategy and mark the beginning of a turnaround.